Hello, everyone. I hope everything is well. Um, Number of people goes down from meeting to meeting, but I guess that's okay. Um, are there any questions before we begin talking about some South Semitic languages? Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see the presentation? Hello?
Hello, everything is
Ah,
okay.
great. Just had to make sure. Okay, well, we won't talk about Sabaic today, which is the most famous and well-attested Old South Arabian language. I think we will probably talk about it in the following lesson, or maybe after that. Uh, Wait, Jonathan, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now, Jonathan? Has anything changed? Now you can hear me. Okay, then we'll do it that way. Okay. So, just to repeat what I said, we won't be talking about Sabaic today. It will probably be in the next lesson or two, with the more central Semitic languages. Sabaic is the best attested Old South Arabian language. Today we'll be talking about the other ones, which are Minaic, Katabanic, and Hadramitic. They were all spoken and or we think, but they are all attested in around Yemen of today, pretty much Western Yemen, so closer to um, Africa. Um, they were attested approximately since about 800 BCE, or maybe a little bit earlier than that, and until say 200, 300 CE, something like that, that differs between the languages. And we have a few hundred inscriptions from each of them, as opposed to a few thousands from Sabaic. Um, I will try to give just a very small taste of these languages, but there unfortunately really isn't that much to show or to talk about because of the scarce knowledge we have of them. So this is the old South Arabian writing system or script. It's a font, but it is supposed to be an example. This is also the order, the letter order that they use. They don't use the letter order that we know from Northwest Semitic, which is the ABC one. They use a different one, the HL Het one, that is, as I have previously mentioned, also tested alongside the other one in Ugaritic. So in Ugaritic, we have both letter orders. Um, but in South Semitic, we only have this letter order. And you can see that it is very extant. So this script has no less than 29 graphemes for 29 hypothesized Proto-Semitic phonemes. So that is quite comfortable, quite convenient. Um, I was asked recently uh, whether there is a script that should be used for Proto-Semitic. I thought that this might be a very good option, but never mind that. So just a little bit of features general features of these languages. So they all have duals, but we don't know about any first-person duals like the ones we talked about in Ugaritic and Eblite or modern South Arabian. But it could be that we just don't know because they use a strictly consonantal script. So it could be that this was expressed only in the vowels. But we do know about the other duals, like the second and third person ones, both in pronouns and in verbs, and I think even in adjectives. These languages, this includes also Sabaic. These languages, and unlike Sabaic, have S in certain places that other languages have H in. So the third person pronouns and the causative. Hadramitic is special because in the third first person masculine pronouns, it has S1, so the sheen, and in the feminine, it has S3, so the samich, which, if you remember, is exactly the same as in modern South Arabian. These languages have nominative and oblique pronouns, which is nice. That's kind of like Akkadian and Ugaritic, like the shu, shuati, hu, huati, hua, huati, something like that distinction. Of course, we don't know the vowels, but we see the added T at the end. And the last thing is that no one knows for sure if these languages had or did not have an iparas form. This is a very controversial and disputed issue, very interesting as well. And unfortunately, it is very, very hard to tell. Any questions so far? No, nothing? Okay. So just a tiny bit of anecdotes about Mannaic. Mannaic has a verbal stem with a reduplicated C2, which is a feature that we know from Ethio-Semitic, specifically modern Ethio-Semitic. It does not exist in Ge'ez, but all modern Ethio-Semitic languages, or almost all of them, have such a stem. In Mannaic, it exists only in the imperfect or in the prefix conjugation. So the suffix conjugation has C2 written once, and the prefix conjugation has it written twice, which is very, very interesting and special. No other Semitic language has such a thing. Mannaic uses its letter for the interdental, the voiceless interdental fricative to transcribe Greek S for some reason. There are a lot of hypotheses about the reason for that, but that's the way it is anyway. And sometimes there is a parasitic or paragogic or just added H in all kinds of plural forms, which is something we know also from other Semitic languages, but not usually as systematic. And this is an example of a Mannaic text, which we can at least try to read. So a lot of names in these inscriptions. So this begins with Abkarib Yatha bin Waqahil. There's a lot of theophoric names involving Waqah and Maqah. These are no, sorry. Waqah here is a verb, but never mind. There's also a god Maqah, like a protector or something like that. But here, this is the protection of God or something like that, I think. Malik Ma'in or something like that. Malik Ma'in. Nahala wa Wahaba Abdas. So gave or granted and gifted his slave. Agyar, probably a name. Wa Bahanai, so and sons. So this H is what I was trying to refer to as a parasitic H that appears in the plurals. The sons of Achas, his brother. Tabih or something like that. Bahanai, the sons of Abid, the slave of Baban. I don't know, probably a name as well. Abid Malakan. So yeah, we can continue if you want. If anyone wants to read, or I can continue. It's not that interesting, but this is relatively extant text in Mosaic, which is always nice to see. But as you can see, most of these texts are broken, and most of them are much, much shorter and include mostly names. So both Old South Arabian and Old North Arabian, unfortunately, most of the information that we have on them, most of the data that we have is personal names, and much less than that, actual words. So that's a little bit sad, but still not that bad. Um, you can see a few of the features here. So for example, this N at the end, but this is of course reconstructed, but you can see it here, for example. So this has raised many questions among Old South Arabian scholars. Um, it is today considered to be probably some kind of definite or indefinite marker. There are different theories about this and about whether N or M, which of them is the definite marker and which of them is the indefinite marker. But this theory has become a little bit widespread in the past few decades. You can also see, for example, this form, the katabara or something like that, the GT form with no prefix, um, which maybe, I guess, is reminiscent of Akkadian Pitus or Pitras or something like that, and also modern South Arabian, which we will see soon, and also maybe Arabic if you leave out the prosthetic alif. So waqtabara or something like that, meaning and he was buried, or something like that, or to be buried. I don't know. Um, let's see if there's anything else that is interesting. Atharahum or something like that, their places. So once again, with the parasitic H for the plurals, you can see the prohibitive. So wala yaqniyan or something like that, right? Or no, sorry. No, they think it is they think, I'm sorry, this is a precative. That's how they analyze it. So wali yaqniyan or something like that. Wali yaqniyan, let it be, may they possess it or something like that. And you can also see the final noon, energetic, or I don't know, anything else. And I think that is pretty much it. Any question about Mosaic?
Do we have any idea about the vowels pronunciation?
Unfortunately, no, not at all. There's nothing else to say about it. No, just no, unfortunately. I don't even know of any transcriptions of even proper names into Greek or Akkadian or anything like that. So no, we have no information on the vowels, unfortunately. Any other question?
Yeah, since you mentioned Greek, when, like, from what time are the transcriptions of Greek into Mosaic? Do you know that? What century that would be?
That would be the first couple of centuries BCE and
okay.
CE. So pretty much that.
The classical time. Okay.
Sorry?
The classical period.
Yeah.
Like slightly after. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not like we have that many transcriptions. We have more with Sabaic, but with Mosaic specifically, we have only enough to determine that thing about the interdental.
And Mosaic is the only thing that does that among the Old South Arabian language.
Well, I will soon mention that Hadramitic has merged S3 and Tha, so they use it interchangeably, but Minake does not. So that's the weird thing.
Okay.
Yep. Any other question?
Yes, about the ha in for plural many.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same ha in Ugaritic Bahat for bet?
Yeah. As I said, this we do know an added H in plurals, like in Ugaritic Bahatim or something like that, and also Elohim and stuff like that. So it's not completely foreign, but it is much rarer in other languages than it is in Minaic. And we don't exactly know what it was used to signify. So, like, or what vowels, what happened there. We just know it's an H. Could be even some kind of matres. I don't know.
What?
It could also even be some kind of matres lectionis, like a letter that is supposed to signify a long vowel or something like that. It is very,
Oh,
very
okay,
hard to
okay.
tell.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Um, so this is the inscription. It's not a very good picture of it, but you can get the impression. Um, once again, this is considered a very large one. Here's one from Katabanik. A little bit of the features. They have this biyaf'al form for the present, which is nice, very reminiscent of modern Arabic dialects. They have the numeral one as tad or something like that, and feminine tat, which is also very, very weird in Semitic, but exactly the same as in modern South Arabian. And sometimes they add an H in the construct state, or some people call it the absolute state, which sounds funny because it sounds like an opposite, but in these languages, the construct state and the absolute state are usually the same, and as opposed to the, I don't know, unbound state or something like that, which usually has some kind of suffix, either definiteness or something else, or tanween or something like that. So this one is ghalibun yalhub. That's how they have decided to transcribe it, but of course, very speculative. Bin dawsam or something like that. Bin qasamam banay wa banaya. So he built. You can see that the third week, so to speak, roots usually inflect in Old South Arabian as completely sound roots, and sometimes even the second week ones. Wa sa'ashaqa, so and raised, like erected or something like that. Kul mabra or something like that. They think it's an irrigation work. I'm not sure. Wa asaqa, and raised. Oh, sorry, and this is probably a noun, so they think and the construction or something like that, like the erected thing. Fanawat nakhalas lahagan. And they understand this sentence as the distributary canal for the irrigation of his palm grove lahagan. So this means like the front one or something like that, probably like the facing one. And nakhal in Arabic means palm trees. Um, so his palm trees, and lahagan, they think it's a name as well. And this is what this inscription looks like. This is the actual one, and this is a drawing of it. Any question?
Is there an etymology for this numeral one?
Not a convincing one that I know of. It's a very, very interesting question. I was sure that I've heard of one, but I couldn't find it a few weeks back. But keep on looking. It's a very interesting question. Yeah. Um, And last one, Hadramitic, as I said, has merged the S3 and the interdental, the voiceless interdental, probably also the voiced interdental and emphatic interdental, but we don't have as much evidence for that, unfortunately. And it also has a liyaf al-jasiv that we've also seen before in Minaic. So this exemplatory inscription is Amram or something like that, or Omarum, I don't know. The Sahram of Sahram Saknaya he has dedicated or something like that. Mara'as, so his Lord, seen, probably seen. The alam, so seen the alim or something like that, maybe scene of the city or scene of the how do you call it, dynasty or something like that, I don't know. Be mahrammas, so in his temple, in his holy place. Be shabwat, in shabwa. Saknayat or sukniyat, maybe, or they think it's an infinitive here, or maybe even a verbal noun, but I don't know. It could be also like a passive verb, saknayat or sukniyat or saknayata or something like that. Dhahabahan. So this is also with the definite article of the gold or something like that, or the gold. That manwam qayham. So owner of manwam sounds like something or something like that, but they understand it as value. Qayham, they think it's just a measure. Wa qata'at if, so and he offered or cut or something like that, it or her. So this th is, as I said, interchangeable with the S3, which is the third person feminine marker or pronoun. So, and he cut it or her and offered or something like that. B, dhabham, in the sacrifice or something like that. Safham, maybe he burnt it or something like that. And saknayat, again, either a verbal noun or a passive verb. Akhadha, he took. Ala sawu, on him. So alayhi, elishu, something like that. Haufai, this looks more like an infinitive, but or it's a little bit, I don't know, like it could be this H could be a preposition, or it could be the causative prefix that we know from other languages, because these languages do have some variation, especially in personal names. So it won't be impossible for this to be a loan word with an H causative, but it can also be a preposition or something like that. So he took on him to, or something like that. Wafaya, to make sure, to make secure, something like that. They say for the safety. Garabas, so his person. I don't know about this word garab. Wa waladas, and his child or children. Wa ba'aras, and his cattle. Wa qanayas, and his property. Any question? So this is the inscription. All of these inscriptions, I don't remember if, yeah, I wrote it here, are taken from this site, DASI CNRIT. This is the database of ancient South Arabian inscriptions. It is a very useful website. They don't all have translations, but the longer ones do. And it is a very nice website. I recommend it. I wish there were such websites for other languages as well. Okay, any questions before we move on to talk about Ethio-Semitic? Okay. Oh, just for bibliography. So I told you about the website. There is also a website which I have forgot to mention, and I will write it down in the chat here. So it's sabaweb.jena something. And that is the best, you can Google sabaweb.jena. That is the best dictionary that exists right now for Sabaic, but it also includes references for other Old South Arabian languages. Specifically regarding books, there's only a few that can be mentioned. So Beeston has Sabaic grammar, which also has an appendix with some grammatical notes on non-Sabaic Old South Arabian languages, and also Sabaic dictionary, which is, as I said, a little bit obsolete considering the German online one from Jena. And Peter Stein has 3 books that are very, very useful on Sabaic, Untersuchungen zur Morphologie und Phonologie des Sabaischen, something like that, and a very large book on the Minuskulenschriften, so the minuscule writings, which in Sabaic are very, very common and many, and Lehrbuch der Sabaischen, Lehrbuch der Sabaischen Sprache, yeah, which is a really nice textbook. For non-Sabaic, Old South Arabian, there is barely any sources, unfortunately. There is the Briggs Lexicon of Inscriptional Katabanian, which is almost the only thing in existence, and a short article by Avancini, Notes on the Grammar of Non-Sabaic Languages. Other than that, everything that there is exists on the website that I have mentioned. So it also has word lists, and that's it. Unfortunately, there is yet to have been written a proper dictionary or grammar for these languages, but we're still waiting. Any question before we move on to Ethio-Semitic really this time? Okay. So this is the Ge'ez writing system, which maybe, as you have noticed, is completely derived from the Old South Arabian one. So Old South Arabian and specifically Sabaic was used in Ethiopia as well. As I said, it was quite close geographically, and there was a Sabaic colony in Ethiopia. So there are Sabaic inscriptions from Ethiopia. We know that's how the writing system got there. Ge'ez was written at first in the same script, which is the consonantal script. And this is called epigraphic Ge'ez, which is a little bit different from classical Ge'ez, which is a little bit later. Approximately 400, 500 CE, something like that. And classical Ge'ez has adapted this writing system to write vowels as well, which I'm very thankful for. So you can see the principles of the writing system here. There's the first column, which is the basic letter, which has a short a after it in classical Ge'ez. So this is ha, this is la, this is ha, this is ma, and so on. And all the other vowels have some kind of variation. So u is usually the variation created by adding a small line to the right side. But some have weird stuff like ra, ru. So this is a little bit different. E is usually made by adding a small line to the bottom right side. And I don't think this is the only exception. I think the yi sign, phi is a little bit different. Is a little bit more complicated. There are several different varieties, but usually it's either adding a vertical line to the right side or making the already existing vertical line to the right side longer than the one on the left side, like la. E is always adding this little round, this little circle at the bottom right. This is the schwa or zero, so or just nothing. So and so on, which is the most complicated signs. They have different varieties of creating. And O usually has either a circle at the top right or a longer left leg than the right leg, like Bo. This is a very, very nice writing system. It is basically the same as, say, Hebrew with Nikud, except that it is always written with all of the vowels. So in Hebrew, usually Nikud is not used in day-to-day life. This is just the only way today to write Ethiopian languages other than Latin. So it's very, very nice that it is readable easily. You don't have to study the language for a long time just to be able to know which vowels come where. They are always written. Regarding the consonants, you can see pretty much the same consonants as we've seen in other Semitic languages and in ancient South Arabian. So the small differences are that there are no interdentals at all. Ethio-Semitic languages have no evidence for ever having interdentals. There are the lateral ones, so this is not a very good sign, but this is the historical sin or sh, and this is the historical dad or qa. But it did not take long before these consonants have merged with their non-lateral equivalents. So this is read just as s, and this is read just as ts. So these two signs are today and have been for the last at least 1500 years homophonic, and also this sign and this sign. They are still used, not always etymologically correct. There are also labiovelar consonants or labialized velar consonants. So the k, g, and k have a labiovelar phoneme in addition to the regular one. So this is qua, qui, qua, que, and so on. And there's also one for cha, hua, hui, and so on. This consonant as well, cha, has merged into ha in all of the Ethio-Semitic languages and also in quite old Ge'ez. And later, the two of them have also merged with H in almost all of the languages, but not all of them. So today, in most of the languages, these three signs, H, Het, and Chet, are pronounced the same, all as just He, He, and just spelled differently for, I don't know. These are the numbers, which are very weird, and I never